Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing around here. And I have some pretty stellar human beings to help me with that mission today. These are some of the authors of a new book that we have coming out called Shamanic Breathwork, The Nature of Change. I have Atlantis Wolf, and she is a shamanic life coach who uses medical massage, emotional release therapy, and the spiritual guidance of galactic dragons to assist clients seeking permanent solutions to their chronic pain. Zeina Yazbek is a shamanic minister, shamanic breathwork facilitator, and founder of the Third Eye Tribe. I have Zeina Yazbek with me. She's an internationally published co-author, spiritual mentor, and soul guide who helps her clients heal through shamanic breathwork, astrology counseling, meditation, and dream journeying. And Walid Abul-Naga is the founder of NAFAS Journeys, a transformational travel experience helping those embarking on their lifelong journey and quest for self-discovery by bridging adventure with spirituality. Hold on to your seats, y'all, because this is about to be a really, really fun conversation. Okay, Atlantis, guess what? You're going to start this party. Tell us about the chapter that you wrote.
Hi, Laura. Thanks so much for having me. I wrote chapter 2, Shamanic Death. You are the sovereign of your life. And it is about a little tiny, beach read sort of subject where we get conditioned by things, and our goal is to find our soul underneath all those trappings and all those programs and all the things that people put on us. Our job is to take them off so that we can just shine bright. And the story is about my journey, how Linda Starr-Wolf opened that journey for me at the Gathering of Shamans in May of 2018.
You are all speaking about shamanic breathwork in this book. However, you all have your own very unique twist to how, not only how you brought that into your own life and used it to heal, but then how you then come back with your clients and use it in your toolkit, right? So tell me a little bit about the tool, the strategy that you wrote about.
So what I wrote about was the way that you can use the breath work to answer a question that you already have the answer to inside of you. So any fear, for example, a lot of people have fear. Why are you having this fear and where did it come from? And usually it's because you can't tap into the love, that infinite love that's inside of you. And so it's the breath work is a way for me to hold a space for people and allow them to feel safe enough to go through the fear so that they can reconnect with that love inside of them. And once they've done it once, they obviously can come back, and people do, but it's amazing to me how just opening that path one time allows people to see their life in a different way and move through their challenges in a different way.
Because once you have a little bit of that awareness, there's no really going back, right?
No, that door is one way. When it's open forever.
And that's what's exciting about this. Honestly, it's scary sometimes, but the magic that is there for the taking because of that journey, because that journey of awareness just keeps expanding and bringing more magic. I know it has in your life.
Oh yeah, I definitely opened up all the doors to the magical life that is mine, and I would not be having a strong connection with the Galactic Dragon Clan, which I do, which I meditate with other people like me, believe it or not, who also have a strong connection to all the dragon clans around the earth who are here to move everything into balance and to bring that greater love to all living beings on the planet.
Oh, we could talk about dragons all day long. I would like that. All right, we might have to put a bookmark in the dragon talk. Atlantis, thank you so much for being in this project. Walid, you are up next. So I want to hear about this beautiful chapter that you wrote.
It's called Breathing to Heal, chapter 15. And the main focus was how breath work in general helped me heal emotionally and physically. 7 years ago, I was in a bumpy ride. A lot happened in the world. I mean, pre-pandemic, but there was still the crash of the 2008 market crash and real estate crash, and 2011, Arab Spring, and issues with my suppliers and partners, clients just all crumbled down on me. And I don't think I dealt with it right. And I was on the verge of a mental breakdown and so much stress. And I was seeking healing, seeking solutions. And I tried so many different modalities, from juice fasts to different types of silent retreats. And one thing led to another. And I ended up in Peru. I've tried all the different hallucinogenics, all these beautiful plant medicines, and they just kind of opened my mind, and it was amazing. But just 2 months after that experience, I've had my first breathwork session, and I could not believe what happened to me. And that was it. And I decided I wanted to learn everything about this modality, or the different modalities available. And it took me on my own personal healing journey. I healed. I didn't have to go down the route of, operations and so on. And today I facilitated through Nefas, taking people on these wonderful journeys, because I've personally experienced it myself. The places I've been to, just like Atlanta said, the door that's opened, the spirits you meet, it's as real as you want it to be. And I'm just so blessed to have had this opportunity personally, and hearing it from so many others that we share this wonder and this magic with as well.
So many of you have brought up in your chapters the very profound and powerful kinds of modalities you've all dabbled with over your journey. And then it seems like there's this very common sentence that comes next. But shamanic breathwork was it, like I want to hear you talk about that more, because give me the why behind that.
I've tried so many different breathworks. I wanted to understand them all. I started training with holotropic breathwork. It's the most known, and it's incredible and very therapeutic for abuse and trauma and many things. But just to me, it didn't really have that connection and vibe, and I felt it was too long, and there was something not there. I met with Wim Hof. I met with so many pranayama teachers, and fire breathing, and retaining the breath and through the nose and through the mouth. But I think the shamanic community with Star Wolf and everybody I've met, if you told me 7-8 years ago about the different realms and spirit animals that we connect with, I probably wouldn't have believed you and saying this must be a joke. And then it's just something incredible. And not only the shamanic breathwork technique, but I believe the tribe and everything we have together is just so uplifting. Just honored to be part of the Wolf Pack, and happy to be here.
And can I just add to that I think that that's part of the magic, is that for whatever reason, Star Wolf attracts a certain vibration of person. And because she holds the sacred space, and really breathwork, especially your first breathwork, it's about who is holding the space for you. Because you can do a video and you can go somewhere and put in the first word and then breathwork and stuff will come up. But for someone who has crafted a way to move you into those non-ordinary states in such the way that she does, it is unique. And I think, to Waleed's point, it does attract a certain person who is strong enough, mentally, physically, and emotionally strong enough to hold that container to allow other people to open up, in my opinion.
Thanks for adding that. I think that I'm going to ask y'all about that non-ordinary state thing in a minute. Okay. All right, Lisa, tell us about your amazing chapter.
Hi, I wrote chapter 19, Elemental Alchemy, jumping into the fire. And for me, I really wanted to inspire this transformation, transformation that we are meant to transform. And it was through breath work that I really, through shamanic breath work, that I really moved onto my spiritual path, and have been able to move through the cycles of transformation, move through the elements of transformation with the breath work. And what I love about the breath work, the shamanic breath work, is that it's so accessible to everybody. Waleed was talking about, going plant medicine, which, I've traveled down to Peru and a beautiful relationship with plant medicine. But what I love about shamanic breath work and about sharing it is that it's accessible to everybody. It's given to us when we're born, and it's so powerful. Just as they were saying, is that it's unbelievable how powerful it is. When people first experience it, they're just blown away that they can move into these altered states of consciousness and expand and get those transmissions that are already in their heart that are blocked by what's all going up here in the mind.
Okay, you said it again, so I'm going to ask you now. Atlantis called them non-ordinary states, and you're calling them altered states of consciousness. Tell us just a little bit more about that and why that shouldn't be too scary.
Well, it's definitely like I said, with the breath work, it's safe, and to what Atlantis was saying, definitely the safe container. It's so important, and the way Star Wolf has taught all of us to hold a safe container, sacred container is important. But what I have found over the last 6 years through my own alchemy transformation through this is that it is important for us to move into altered states of consciousness and move out of the thinking mind. This mind wants to, just it thinks it knows everything, and it's not, and that's not true. It's in the heart. And so what I love about the shamanic breath work is that we can safely move into these altered states, which it's like I said, it's just aha. People who have been like maybe going over something over and over and over in their mind, or maybe they don't even know, they're just in that fear, but they don't know why. These just aha moments come through. I was in Teotihuacan and for my first shamanic breath work, and just heard exactly where I was, emotionally and mentally. I just heard for the first time. So yeah, I feel like I think we've always moved into altered states of consciousness to connect to spirit, connect to ourselves, connect to the earth. And so that we can bring that into our lives, the transmissions that come through in these altered states.
And to Lisa's point, the reason why it is safe is that you're using your own breath. So if you are going to a place that you feel is too out of control or you're not ready for it, you just breathe in a different way. You can slow your own breath down. Every breath is a choice. So every time you breathe your next breath, you're choosing to go deeper into that state or not. The non-ordinary state is what they call any time that you go into a deep meditation. Shaman means one who sees in the dark. So you put a mask over your eyes because what you're experiencing is not on the physical side. You're engaging the senses that you have on the other side, on the spirit side. You have them all here and you have them all on the other side, but people don't have a practice of engaging their sight into the spirit world, or their smell, or their ability to move or travel. And the shamanic breathwork gives you a safe place to do that.
This is awesome. Thank you both on that last one, just to help our listeners and viewers really understand this at another level. And I think what you're afraid of, sometimes you push away, right? But I want people to get curious. And you are so brilliantly, all of you, talking about the why behind you want to be curious about this, right? There's a really, real magic. I use the M word, magic, a lot because I feel like it is that. Okay, so let's let Zeina add to this little party. Tell us about your amazing chapter, Zeina.
Hi, and thank you for having me. It's great to be connecting with the tribe, even though online. At least we're getting the chance to do that. So the chapter that I wrote is chapter 12, titled Dare to Be You, How Loving Yourself Looks Like, or really looks like. And actually writing that book, or that chapter in that book, felt like a shamanic breathwork journey to me. As a lot of things were coming up. I was clearing a lot of things. I was actually writing it. It's insane how really what we call revisiting just really awakens and help release as well. And to be honest, some of the people that I mentioned on that chapter that I haven't talked to in years appeared as soon as I sent that chapter off. So I must say that writing also has got its own medicine, and I'm very thankful for the shamanic breathwork medicine to have allowed me to be journeying within and without through sharing these words. Dare to Be You is really the essence of the return to love, the return to love of the self. the unconditional love of the self. I have been conditioned from a very young age to learn how to be loved by others. And so to put on the masks, all the masks. And then I realized at some point in my life when I got to be, I was an executive, I had built 3 businesses. I was in New York City working between New York and Lebanon and parts of the Middle East. I also was on television for 10 years of my life. So I had to put a lot of masks to be able to really be in that type of role in my life, and also with my family life, friends' life, and all of it. And at some point in my life, I got physically sick, and I didn't know what that pain that I had was all about. And it wasn't until I actually somehow traveled to Bali somehow and ended up staying in Bali and discovering yoga meditation. And then after that, shamanic breathwork, which really allowed me to understand that there's something that I don't understand yet, or that I may never really understand, as realizing that each person is their own constant mystery unfolding. But really the return to love of the self, unconditional love for the self, and the Dare to Be You, the title is there because it really requires courage, as we've been, and I'm generalizing, programmed to fear the real self.
Oh my gosh, I always say that in these words, it really takes a warrior to be on this journey. It takes courage it to really show up in that way, especially to love yourself first, so that you can give from that place of overflow. It has to come first, right?
And that's, that's the path least traveled. And this is where especially ones who activate themselves into the journey of the return to the unconditional love of the self, to their own divinity, many times feel alone, many times feel like I'm confused or stuck, or everyone else is doing something and I'm doing something else. Sometimes there's a sense of isolation and awakening or remembering the self, or to the return to love. And so what I share actually in the chapter are steps on how to really allow yourself to incorporate the way that self-love works for you. Because the idea is there's no one size fits all. The way I'm actually meeting myself with love is not exactly the same dance that you're going to have specifically with you, but there's definitely tips where one can start and then actually really make it their own.
You all are going to love all the chapters for so many different reasons. And I wanted just to say a quick thank you to all of you, not just for saying yes to this, but for stepping up in the beautiful way that you did. Zeina, you mentioned something about the writing has its own medicine, and it does. And I hear that over and over. And it's the kind of writing that I want to put in books and publish, right? It's that connected journey itself. And you were all brave enough to write those beautiful stories and then step up as the master teachers that you all are and help our reader with an experience. And I get so excited to share these books with the world just for all of those reasons. So thank you so much for that. So Walid, I have the next question for you first, okay? When you think of our subtitle for this book, The Nature of Change, when you think about that topic, I love that topic for so many reasons, but how important has that been in your own life, thinking about change and the nature of change?
My wife tells me I'm a different person than the one she married. I look back at my pictures and I share it with my kids. I believe I've transformed. I believe I've shed layers, just exploded that, cocoon, and I'm flying with wings. I remember with Atlantis, we spread the wings in our beautiful ceremony. So people change, we all change, we all heal, we all transform. And I look at so many others around me, and there's no comparison. If you're happy where you are, it's great. But I feel not only a complete transformation of my spirit, but my life, my career, where I live, my family, what I believe in, just it's a complete change. So the nature of change to me is so beautiful, and it comes back to my change and my transformation. And I'm sure to everyone else, it'll mean something different, but I feel I'm embodying a new spirit, and it's amazing.
You know, you mentioned your family just now, and you immediately made me think of relationships and marriage and the relationships we have with our closest inner circle. Somebody stepping up and onto this journey and having a total transformation where they, what you said is, I feel like a completely different person. That can not be so great for the inner circle sometimes. Like, how did you embrace it in a way that all of the parts stayed together?
I believed, I trusted, I took that leap of faith. I had so many friends of friends and some friends when I first decided to move and leave and close my company down. What are you doing? Take my wife and my 3 daughters and move everything from living 15 years comfortably in Dubai and moving to Bali. No, this is not the right thing to do. So, you would get resistance. My mother's like, why are you moving again? But in general, I don't think my own change or decisions it's nice to hear from everybody. I think I got very little support, maybe from few key, close, beautiful contacts and friends, support network. But yeah, family. I meet some people and then they say, I have no car, no dog, no pet, no mortgage, no loan, no house. I have a backpack, but I look at you and you did it with a tribe, So it can't be that hard if you did it. Yeah. So change is out there. Embrace it. Welcome it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, what do you want to add to this? How did that nature of change theme play out in your life?
I can really relate to what Waleed says. I'm so embracing change, the nature of change and transformation. And for me, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. I am so different. I'm a complete different person from a year ago. And I feel like our linear programming, what Waleed was saying, like some resistance. It's like, we have this way of like, our programming is like, oh yeah, you do this, you do this, you do this, you get your education, you get your, your house. And so when it's in a box. And when you break away from that, when the breath work, opens your heart, or you begin to go through these big transformation, you can get, I have had lots of resistance, but staying true to the heart and finding my tribe, that was so important, to have a tribe that understood transformation. And I can't say enough. I mean, it's really so, I'm so passionate about it because I do see a lot of people in fear, in fear of change, in fear of transformation, in fear of making a move, and then they become stuck, and then can become sick or ill physically, emotionally. So it's something that I really lean into, and what I love about what Star Wolf has taught me and has taught us, the nature of change, and using the elemental alchemy is what was my chapter, and it's all about moving through the elements. So when you can relate the elements to transformation and change, it gives you a map. It gives you a map, or a way to see yourself. So I just, it's so powerful, and it's so important that we embrace transformation. And I like to call it death and rebirth, death and rebirth.
Nice. Thank you. Zeina, what do you want to add to this discussion about change?
Well, as change is the only constant, I would say activating the choice of co-creating with change can really simultaneously activate the divinity within each person to really choose their own unique self, again, willingly and by choice. Yes, change is constantly happening, but with my choosing to be present consciously with change is where really I can start meeting the depths of myself, reconnect with my personal power, as this is where the allowance of my meeting my darkness and then floating in the light, sometimes simultaneously on the same breath, and really allowing this regeneration process to really happen, rather than, well, in my own life, having been conditioned to resist that, to take a pill for not, to feel better, to work more to feel better, to have toxic friends to feel better, whatever the case, may be for each person. But so for me, the nature of change, a change of nature, it's everywhere. It's in every breath, in every moment, looking at every element, seeing the storm as a beautiful storm, but also seeing the storm as a very powerful force that can go and just change everything in one moment. So really depending on what looks at it, and also how they choose to co-create with change, is how one can keep constantly surprising themselves with the depths of themselves by just aligning themselves with that which is already constantly happening infinitely.
I love that, that, you know, we can continue to surprise ourselves by embracing change. That's got a good feel. You all are so amazing in terms of how you frame this feeling that can be really hard for people, right? I want to talk about resistance in a minute. You've all mentioned it today, but Atlantis, how has this played out for you, this nature of change?
I like to tell my clients that change is inevitable, and how you handle it is really, that's where the free will and the choice comes in. Nature is change. Every day, everything changes. Trees grow, trees come down, the storms come through. I mean, really, to me, it's about, can you surrender and merge with nature? Because it is your nature to be constantly changing. In our biology, it's called homeostasis. Our body constantly is in connection with the air and the wind and the stress and the medicine and the food, and it's constantly trying to come into balance. And in the same way that our body is reflecting that state of balance, so is our mind and our ability to try and come into balance. Why are we here? What are we doing? We're certainly not put on earth just to buy a Tesla and die and be put into the ground. So really, to me, it's about, can you surrender to that great design? The way that I say it is, when I meditate on Metatron's cube, which looks like the flower of life. So just imagine a really cool piece of sacred geometry. And I imagine that I'm just a small seed and I'm rolling through that piece of sacred geometry. And when I'm in the flow, that is how my life feels. It feels like I'm just part of a great, beautiful, sacred geometry design. And my job is not to just jump off the track because I can't see the next curve.
I love that. I'm envisioning the patterns. It's hard not to when you talk about it. Okay, so I want to not forget to just pause a moment and say the hugest thank you to Star Wolf. You know, we wouldn't be here without you, Star. Thank you so much for bringing this stellar cast of authors together, these master teachers, master healers. We love you, and we love that container that you have built for all of us to do this beautiful, safe, sacred work and healing that we're doing. And the ripple is real here, y'all. The book is a powerful, powerful force that I think we've all been feeling since we started the project. And I know everyone is really excited for it to be out in the world. So Zeina, I'm going to start this next question with you. Almost all of you have mentioned resistance so far in this chat. And of course, you all understand that it shows up in a person differently, person to person. So I want to know, Zeina, how does it show up for you? How do you notice it? And then even more than that, what's your process of shifting the energy if that's what you're choosing to do? Maybe just a simple tip for our viewers to understand what it feels like for you and then how you shift it.
So for me, I recognize personally resistance when I jump into the tomorrow. So as soon
a good example.
The mental states kicks in, and all of a sudden worried, you know, in a state of worry, or in a state what would happen, or sometimes even bring in the past just for fun, you know, that as well. So it's kind of, that's the process where, and I'm not saying every time or the moment it does that I pick it up, because the mind is an amazing, amazing tool. And I say a tool because I'm not my mind, right? But I can confuse myself with being my mind on so many levels. And this is where breathwork helps, is where meditation helps. But so to give a short answer to that is, as soon as I start getting into the what if this happens, and then the question where my mind asks me to come up with a specific form, Like, what's your plan 5 years from now? What is it exactly that you're going to do, kind of thing? Or do you remember when you did that? You know, this is the same thing happening. And well, first of all, the nature of change, nothing that comes back is the same, for it's different, for it's constantly shifting. And the second part of the question was, may I ask what it was, Laura? Because I know
when you choose to shift your own energy at that point, what's one simple way you like to do that? Just, you know, we're talking to our viewers today too, who might need a few ideas.
Take a deep breath and come back to the moment, knowing there's nowhere else to be but here now in this moment. And even when it gets hard to be here now in this moment, give yourself a hug, give yourself love, breathe again, non-judgmentally, non-forcefully, come back to the here and now anyway. And if anything, this is the place where you might wing or start really meeting what trust and surrender and faith in the self really looks like.
I love it. And none of you are going to want to go second, third, or fourth on this question, I know, but I want to hear all of the ways. And that's one of the beauties of this book, is because we can talk about shamanic breathwork in 25 different, unique, perfect ways. And there's always somebody that's going to need to hear it in the way that you say it. So Atlantis, how does the resistance show up for you? And what's a tip to shift the energy?
So I usually can feel the resistance because I turn into like a cranky 3-year-old child. So for example, Spirit, I was walking across my office at work. I was very busy, and, you know, very much that means in my mind and going and lots of clients and everything like that. And as I was walking across, Spirit said, you're going to do a shamanic breathwork book with Linda Starr Wolf. And then my 3-year-old kicks in. I don't have time for that. She doesn't have time for that. She's really busy. Laura's really busy. Are you kidding me? And honest to God, this is, you know, sadly you asked the question. So my mind is like a 3-year-old cranky little, like, I don't want to do that. And then I have to listen to that, because usually he or she, depending on the day, just sort of sputters out. And it's just like, okay, fine. So on the outside, I always choose Spirit. I always have faith that whatever message I get from the other side, because that's who I am, is literally every message I get from the other side, I know it's sent from my mom, my guardian angel, my ancestors, my grandparents. I don't have people on this side. I have my tribe, I have my close people. Most of my people and my animals and my dragons are on the other side. So I hear them 24/7. And I always, always, always do what they ask after I let myself have a little like cranky pants moment. So my advice is indulge the cranky pants. Just let yourself just blah, 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 until you get sick of listening to your own garbage, and then say, that's nice. We're going to do it anyway. And take your hand for your little 3-year-old, give them a cookie, give them a nap, and do the thing you're being asked to do, damn it, because we need you. So be bigger than cranky pants.
I'll have a nap and a cookie. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Atlantis. Okay, Waleed, how do you want to answer this? How does the resistance show up for you, and how do you shift?
It's funny, I could just take everything Atlantis said and that would be what I would say. Because I had the biggest struggle, this guy over here telling this guy, what do you know? You don't know anything about the breath work, and it's not going to make any money, and it's not going to really help people that much, and you have a successful life, you know, it's okay. So after 20 years in the marketing and digital media space, I decided to shut him up down and say, let's take that leap of faith. And it's a lot to deal with, you know, fear. But one key thing Star Wolf taught us, he says, you can prepare the website, all the flyers, you can book the retreat center and the yoga studio, get the speakers and do the advertisement, do all that. But the one key element that is the most important out of all is spirit, is trust and faith, which is belief, exactly like Elena said, and along the lines of Zeina, it's just belief. So it took a lot of time to understand that, you know, trust in a higher power and belief. And a lot of us just fear too much. And today I'm okay with things not going exactly as I want them to, because it was meant to be. So spirit is important. And That's what I'm following today, spirit, which is in Arabic, the word nafas is breath, but it comes from the word nafs, which is spirit. So spirit and breath, same word, same meaning. Trust and believe.
Mm. I love listening to you all talk about this. I wasn't prepared for almost all of you talking about the resistance as being that voice, that other voice, that voice in your head, or that inner critic type of thing, or that negative, yeah. I have a way of feeling that resistance. I'll wait for Lisa to answer this question first, though. Lisa, how does it show up for you?
Yeah, what everybody said, that's how it shows up. But I think for me, it's fear, fear. But I feel like over the last 7 years with the breath work and the teachings, I really see when it comes up now. I hear that voice, I'm able to breathe through it. I'm able to meet the resistance. And also sometimes with resistance, and I feel like I'm all about change. And then I feel this resistance, and I'll sit with it and feel, and then really breathe into it, do breath works, meditations, pray. And so sometimes it's resistance because of fear. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, that's not it. That's not the way, that's not your path. And so I'll open myself up to spirit and to trust that it will show me, like the path will be clear. And that does happen. I mean, that happens. And, just what Atlantis was saying about the book, I had fear about this. I've had a story, that I can't write. I'm not a writer, and really put that aside, saw that, listened to that, and said yes, said yes to this. Also, it's part of it is like getting myself out of the way, really, really like I feel so blessed to have this way to be in the world, and I want to share it. I want to share this. This is my infinite concern, is sharing this. So a lot of it's just getting my ego and myself out of the way and just showing up.
That takes an awareness practice that I am so honored to be playing in the sandbox with people who have made their life about this kind of work, because it's just fun, first of all. And you can take life to this other level when you are surrounded by that kind of people, right? Thank you all so much for being those people. So, okay, Lisa, I'm going to actually stay with you for the last question, and I'm going to come around to all of you for this. Okay. We, healers, experts, teachers, we like to talk about ourselves more as guides and facilitators on the journey. We don't fix people. We facilitate a process, and there's a piece to that I want people to understand. We empower them to connect with their own inner place, their own inner wisdom. So I just want to finish out today by you all offering some wisdom to our listeners, help them feel empowered today. What's one thing, one message, something you want them to know to help them feel empowered?
That their soul came here for purpose. Their soul came here for purpose, and it is guiding them. It is guiding them. And yeah, that their soul, I just really want them to be inspired by that they can trust. They can trust what's coming from their heart. They can trust what's coming from their heart, and they can follow that inspiration, connect with what inspires you and follow that. And your soul has purpose here. We came here for purpose. We came here for love. We came here to open our hearts to one another. And
I want to tie that into something that we were talking about earlier in this interview, and it was about those non-ordinary or altered states. And you all were helping me understand why we want to go there and experience this with shamanic breathwork specifically. And I heard from a lot of you, it's about heart connection. It's about getting out of that overthinking, overanalyzing mind and bringing yourself back to the heart to connect with the heart in those different ways. And so you're saying it again, Lisa, trust your heart. And sometimes I think that we were brought here to teach people exactly how to do that. And there's many, many different kinds of ways. Shamanic breathwork is a profound, powerful way. So thank you for bringing that full circle to that why we want to experiment and try new adventures and try shamanic breathwork and try all of these amazing, crazy things that we hear about, right? Thank you all for talking about your ways too. Zeina, how about you? What's something you want our listeners to really understand about this journey and helping them feel empowered today?
I'd like to share two things. One, with the altered state of consciousness that I didn't speak into earlier, but that I'd like to add one more thing to what was said. Everything that happens in that breathwork journey is an altered state of consciousness. Everything that happens in that breathwork journey is the process. If resistance, it's a process. If you're caught up in your mental activity, it's a process. If you fall asleep, it's a process. And that's the altered state of consciousness, because many associate altered state of consciousness of leaving the body. Whereas the gift of shamanic breathwork is going into the senses, to the world beyond the senses, which actually also exist within. This is where the constant mystery unfolding really is. And this is what, at least for me in my own personal journey, what shamanic breathwork, the creation of Star Wolves, actually helped me dive into, is the body. Rather than leaving the body to find answers, it is actually that I'm activating the breath to go into the gates of the body to meet me. And to answer the question that you just raised, it would be a gift that I'd like to share from my heart. Wherever you find yourself, if it's not love, wherever it is that you're actually responding to, reacting to, if it's not love, it's not it. Try again. So whether you're finding yourself not meeting yourself with love, it's not it. Whether you're finding yourself not meeting others with love, it's not it. And this is not about being boundless, and this is not about being perfect, and this is not about self-sacrifice, but rather really find your own boundary through kindness, through love, through self-love, the way you choose to discover it for yourself in your own unique way. But if it's not love, it's not it. Keep looking.
Try again. I love it. Thank you. That was awesome. Nice summary. You mentioned this journey taking us into our body. Thank you for saying that out loud. I think that there are a lot of people that think we're talking about some state that's leaving our body or out of our body, when actually it's coming back in to be there. I want to just repeat what you said and not skip over that too quickly, because all of the magic happens there. The resistance question a minute ago, for me, I can feel the choky knot in my throat. I am very in my body when resistance shows up. And if I'm connected, I can feel that happening. I can wake up in that moment and make a choice from there. And that's, I didn't mention that before. I was promising I would tell you guys what my version is. The resistance that shows up is very physical sensation, and it can feel very scary, which is then what makes you want to leave again. Right. So if we can feel it, understand it, accept it, be aware of it, and just stay put and breathe through it, right? Which is what all of you would say, breathe through it. Atlantis, how about you? How do you want our viewers to feel more empowered today?
So remember that fear lives in your head, but love lives in your heart. So really you're just moving from your head and into your heart, which is 60,000 times more electromagnetically charged than your brain. So love is going to win in the end. But if you want to be that person who is seeing dragons and past lifetimes, and Waleed's going to laugh because he was there when I opened up all this stuff and I promised to only tell him and nobody else forever, and then I'm writing about it. The first thing you have to do is greet every single spiritual experience with awe and wonder. Move back to being a child. where you see something amazing and you want to touch it, or you want to interact with it and you want to reach into it. Because if you move into the state of innocence, you will have more and more and more beautiful spiritual experiences.
So you went from the tantrum to still using that kid attitude. I love that. And you can just be in that wherever you are within it. I love it.
I have told every close person, if you can understand that I'm a 9-year-old girl with a gigantic black dragon behind them, we will get along just fine.
That's fantastic. Okay, Waleed, you are going to close us out today. So tell us a little bit about your version of helping people just feel a little bit more empowered.
I would summarize it all and say I would invite them to stop giving away their power to others. That's when we hear, feel their fear projected on us, their own issues. A lot of people are listening to their family, spouse, their colleagues at work, maybe even therapists or psychics that they tend to they have to grasp to what they say. Trust, believe you are the shaman, you are the healer, you have the answers inside. Just follow that gut. Yes, it's all love. So don't give your power away. It's a lot of noise, pollution going on in the world, so much social media, so much distraction. Try to push that aside and have that inner connection to just seek the answers.
Thank you for that. Authors, all of you, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everybody. We're so excited to get these brave words out into the world in a bigger way. And to everyone watching today, remember that these beautiful authors, master teachers, and healers, you're going to be able to read their chapters, but they're also very generously here to connect with you. And you can drop down into those show notes later, and their websites are there. Please go explore. Find out what they are up to, because they are up to a lot of awesomeness. And it's all there for you below. So please go, if somebody said something today and you're just like tingling with a resonance, and then go have a conversation, connect with these authors. They're ready. And remember that you can join us for our live stream book launch party, March 21st, 2 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be with all of our Shamanic Breathwork authors, and we're going to be on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. I've got you hooked up down below with that as well. And if you happen to be listening to this after March 21st, well, hop over to Amazon, because that means the book is ready for your purchase, and we can't wait for you to read it. Tell us what you think. And lastly, today, remember, everyone, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone. Thank you, authors.
All right. Thank you.